Hey everybody, welcome to Brick Vault. Today's another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO bricks. I don't show these models in any particular order of best to worst, just a bunch of creations that I really liked from this last week. Links to everybody I'm talking about are in the description below, and before I jump in, first I'd like to let you guys know that the custom building instructions that have popped up in the web store this week come from the designer 8th Brother Brick, and this is the Imperial Transport as seen in The Mandalorian. It's an incredibly well-detailed model, plenty of functions, very strong, elegant little angles, and pretty darn heavy, if I do say so myself. If you did want to build one of these creations for yourself, you can get the instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. And now let's jump into some honorable mentions. This is titled Summoning from Revan New, bit of an ominous scene for sure. Here is the Toyota Helix from 1985 from Thomas Guion. This is the truck as seen from Back to the Future. The underscored double designer has created Dr. Amino and the Dragonfly. My favorite bit is the exposed brain. And here's a great scale of a Psycho Zaku from Nobuteri. Carter Witz has the Ronithrion Isles. We'll be seeing a bit more of this in just a minute. Marcus Robler's Jungle Idol is very, very colorful. Zio, a designer we work with, has been making some fun new models. This is Bowsette and his Princess Peach that you can actually get at the web store. Well, he's just been playing around with a bunch of different expressions. Sarah Bayer's Olive Hill House MOC is incredible. You should check out the links. The interior to this place looks like a place I might want to live in. Ralph Langer has another amazing structure built here. This one is titled Staring into the Abyss, and now a wonderfully colorful starfighter. This is Unikitty's Pride Viper from the builder Albert Lee. I love the floor detailing and the window pane and the embroidered wood from Sam JJ. This is the restricted section. You can see Harry Potter there in the corner with the invisibility cloak. And lastly, we're staring at a build from Yes Yes Please. This is the chromatic stack, number 3. All right, let's jump into the top 10 now. From Roanoke Handybuck, this is the Ronithrion Isles and was a collaborative build with Carter Witz. This is a particularly impressive project. I love the completely rounded over underside of the rocks. I am having a tough time, in fact, understanding exactly how this thing is staying level at the moment. But the structure built into the frame of the rock body looks amazing. I love the circular door. We have some strange out of this world plants or crystals perhaps that are coming out of the ground. Here's a build from Jayfa. This is titled Gamma Sucker, and it's this sort of half track, half robot animal. That's something that I'm seeing here. It's kind of like a half werewolf or something. Really quite a unique and expressive robotic creature. And this guy kind of reminds me of Robbie the robot turned into a werewolf or something like that. Now we're looking at a build from the designer Jake Sadovich. This is the LEGO Dauntless 34 Patrol Boat. And in fact, this is a commissioned design. So often when folks are working on large hyper detailed boat models, it's usually a classic ship, but we've got something a bit more contemporary, and perhaps this is maybe a commissioned design from a veteran or somebody currently involved in the service. That's just a complete guess on my part, but there's some great details built into this. I love the technique for the rounded nose in the front. There's some nice, very subtle integrations of LEGO Technic paneling when the system bricks don't quite fit, and I also appreciate the subtle angle put there in the front windscreen. It's not a totally flat angle, which is nice. Pretty impressive commission design. I really like the way it turned out. And now here is a quick highlight for the design Silenzio Bruno Alberto from the Luca, or from the movie Luca. This is from the builder Brick Project Lego, aka Thomas Carlier. And it's just an incredibly well-detailed, very colorful vignette piece that highlights a particular scene from this movie. This designer has a lot of amazing creations under his belt that are based on different films. And remember, links to everybody I'm talking about are in the description below if you want to check out some of these closer details. Now, number 6 on the list is from Joe, or J&J Bricks, and the title is Behind the Door. It's a combination of great techniques and also just a wonderful scene, very well lit and extremely good at establishing an atmosphere. I personally love all the very strange, slight techniques that we can see thrown in and around this model. Some of the plates aren't totally studded in, in. There's some great detailing along the door, which I think uses a scuba diving piece, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the turret detailing is done with those medieval helmets, and I'd be very curious to see what the actual figure is built from. You can see some brick-built legs, mini doll hands or arms, but also an elongated cape. And anyways, there's just a lot of fun, interesting build techniques thrown in here to really establish a very specific scene that I think this designer was going for. Now let's jump into maybe one of the most colorful builds of the week from jaapxaap. This is titled Citadel of Sweet Dreams. The white castle with some colorful highlights is one thing, but I think what really stands out to me is the blue, the medium azure, and maybe a few other colors for the body of the trunk of the tree. If nothing else about this build made you think you were in a fantasy world, then that tree certainly does it for you. There's some great shapes, and I'm also just noticing right now, but this is pretty clever, the upside down slide piece used as sort of a roof covering on the other side of the castle or citadel. Lots of fun techniques, just an incredibly well-built series of shapes. And now we're jumping into a much larger Star Wars diorama from Simulterious. The title is Felucia Reconquest. This looks like Aayla Secura facing off with General Grievous. There's some great atmospheric details thrown in here. I love the Republic tank that is halfway in the mud or maybe even taken over a bit by the jungle that's growing around it. This is one of the most creative and interesting worlds within the Star Wars universe, and I think it was captured quite well in Lego bricks here. Now for build number 3, this was something that popped up just as I launched, or at least I saw it just as I launched last week's video, but from the builder Norton74. This is Magda's garden shed, and in parentheses he has or the shed with the tree. In terms of building a lived-in atmosphere, there are few designers that can really match this builder's techniques and style. There's a creative detail every couple of centimeters and intentional, slightly misplaced pieces to add just a bit of patina, I think, to some of the different areas of this creation. I love the tree coming through the roof, all of the different interesting colorful items strewn about either side of the shed. Sandman's torso piece holding up the potted plant is a nice detail, but it's hard to get too specific with a design like this because just everywhere you look, you'll see something new and interesting and often a piece that you've never seen used in a particular way. Just an excellent build. And now we're jumping on to number 2. This is another build from the designer Jayfa. The title is Dragon, the Great Leviathan. And there's something just so alluring about seeing a not simple design, but a design of somewhat simple shaping repeated so much and so elegantly. The curving tail feels as fluid as if these were not pieces of plastic, and the color highlights really do make this model feel otherworldly. The face reminds me of something like an anglerfish or one of those really scary deep sea creatures, and this model just has such an imposing and impressive shape. This last model's from Saladrigas, and the title is, hopefully I say this right, Rise of Huitzilopochtli. According to the description here, this being at the top of the temple is rising to take the place of the Aztec god of war. The scene is incredible. I love the use of all the different gold bricks. Often you have to use these particular pieces relatively sparing, but there's quite a few here and they're used extremely tastefully to really embellish this royal temple. The jungle details on either side are somewhat innocent and very colorful, while the whole diorama here really points you front and center to the blood coming down the stairs and the army that's advancing up towards this pretty imposing figure. Such an incredibly well detailed creation. It is so eye-catching with the use of color and the use of shapes. And remember, links to everybody I'm talking about are all in the description below. If you have any extra time, I highly recommend you check these designers out. But that is it for my top 10 personal favorite creations of the week. If you enjoy our content, feel free to always like, subscribe, comment, do whatever it is that you want to do. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.